Hello, my name is Azat. Welcome to the fifth lesson of the GraphQL micro-learning series. Today we will discuss custom scalars. If we need to describe the scalars, we can say that they are the simplest bricks with which our complex types are built. In GraphQL we have 5 types of these bricks. They are integer, float, string, boolean, and ID. They are enough to cover most of the everyday needs of modern applications. But sometimes it happens that we need something more. For example, integer type is not enough to store very big numbers. For such cases, in other languages we use long scalar data type, which doesn't exist in GraphQL default scalars list. Or, as another use case, we need to define custom validation to some type. As example, we need to store only values which pass some check validity functions. God bless GraphQL, it provides us features which can cover these needs. We call them custom scalars. So let's try to use them in our project. Every superhero has a special day which is even more special than their birthday, the day when they became a superhero, of course. So let's add this date to their profile. To store the date, we will need to define the date's color type. So let's start from the schema file. We are defining the date's color, and let's go and create the scalars directory where we will store all of our scalars so they can be used across the models. As a date.ts file, we are just using the GraphQL scalar type constructor and passing there the configuration, which consists of name, description, and 3 simple methods. These methods are used to define what kind of type are we going to create. The serialize method is used just to serialize our data into the JSON so we could send it to the client and backwards. The parse value helps us to read the data from the JSON, and the parse literal helps us to read the hard-coded data which comes us to in the AST string. You can read more about the AST strings in the documentation of GraphQL. So let's go and create a couple of functions which will help us to serialize and deserialize our data. So date to string function and string to date function are the only functions that we will need today. And the date to string function, we are simply converting our date to the string via methods to a called date string. And if we will use in US format, we will get the following format. In the string to date function, we are doing the exact opposite. We are getting a string as an argument and trying to parse it. If we are not succeeding in it, we will just return the undefined. Actually, GraphQL will understand that we had some problems trying to parse this data, and that's why it will just throw us the validation error. Let's go back to our scalar definition and use our newly defined helpers and our methods. As you may see, we are getting only one argument and passing them straight to our helpers. By the way, the parse literal is a bit different. It gets an AST named object, and this object has a property which named kind. If we are getting not string, for example, we can surely throw a user input error because we surely know that something went wrong. And it's not a date. So let's go and run yarn gen types command, which will update our type definitions. Our newly created scalar type is ready to use. Let's go and add a new property to our hero, became hero date. And of course, after this operation, we will need to run the gen types again because we have updated the schema. Let's go and update our mock data according to the new changes. As you may see, we can store our date in the JavaScript date object. GraphQL will use the scalar definition to know how to handle this type of data. Let's go to the playground and check how the things work. As you may see, we already have the became hero date property in the hero complex type, and it is in the date type. We may check it via opening the documentation, and as you may see, it mentioned that date is a scalar. Superhero franchises are being rewarded constantly. For example, next year Robert Pattinson will become a new Batman. Probably we will need to update the date of becoming hero for Batman because Pattinson is younger than Christian Bale. To be able to do so, we are creating the new mutation which will be called modify hero DOBH, date of becoming hero. So we will need the name of the hero and DOBH, date, and actually we can already start writing the resolver. So we're just naming it as we named it in the schema. And yep, probably you have already seen it in the previous parts of video. So let's just add here a little mock function, and we will work directly with the response currently. So probably in the future we will work with the databases. So let's just create the hero and find our hero, which name was provided in the arguments. And if we have hero, we are trying to update its date. If we have no hero, such a hero, of course we are showing an error. And yep, we are just using this function right here inside the resolver, and we are wrapping it to the try catch, and if we are getting some error, we are going to throw this error to the client, so our client will know that we are having some troubles right there. So as you may see, everything is red because we have not generated the types. So let's run the yarn gen types command and everything will work fine. Time to check. So first let's run the mutation. As you can see, everything is fine. Then we can run the query. And as you can see, the new value has been stored. Thank you for your attention and see you in the future videos.